hit that vape.
Am I in shot? Yeah.
No,
Okay, I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Are we ready?
Yes.
Oh, we are ready. Very exciting. We're joined by and it was what am I trying? Sorry, Danny. We'll start in a second once I gather my thoughts. At very short notice, although Danny, I wanted you to be on the podcast this week, but today is doesn't matter. Thank you for
We're
being
here now, Dave.
Danny, just calm down. Thank you for being here, Danny O'Brien.
It's a pleasure.
And welcome. Oh yeah, do you want to introduce the podcast, Hannah?
Yeah, sure.
And Hannah, sorry, Danny. Look at this. No, don't touch it. See the way Danny. He's never done the podcast. Immediately, he knows about the microphone pointed at his face and his mouth.
Because he's performing all the time.
Hannah, you've been doing. This is the 101st podcast, and your microphone is this. Look. Hi everyone. I mean,
listen,
what is going on? It's unbelievable.
When you look at me and you squeeze your eyes, it just go like this. It's
okay.
Pure love.
Jack, Daniel, introduce the podcast. Let's go.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to And That's Why We're Not Together, starring David McSavage, Hannah Andrews, and special guest Danny O'Brien.
Danny O'Brien, a well-known comedian around in the area of Dublin and Ireland and the rest of the world. Danny, you've been a comedian for over 15 years.
Yeah, just over, yeah.
Yeah. God, what year did... Well, it doesn't matter. We do.
Someone do some quick math.
Subscribe.
How long have you been doing the Comedy Crunch?
About 13 years, I think, something like that.
I had a bit of a bee in my bonnet with the bucket situation.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, like, I was a street performer for 20 years.
I know, I used to watch it.
And I held my hat out at the end. But my issue with the bucket thing at the end of a comedy show was that people, they haven't paid to go to the club, so therefore they're not as respectful of the comedians. But the thing is, the desperation, I guess, we have to get fucking people to come to the club.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's just a way of doing it. But I think I was a bit snobby about it. And maybe I said it to you at the time, and maybe your nose got out of joint or something.
No, not at all. I totally get it. And we started it when we were kind of coming out with the last crash, I suppose, in about 2009.
The last crash.
Yeah,
I know that these cyclic.
I know. Soon,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the reason it's
can you? Sorry, can you hear Danny? Is he okay? Because I hear my head. He's not.
Yeah. What?
Is Danny okay?
I can hear him.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll move that a little bit closer.
No. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, we started it in the last one about 2009. The reason it's called the Comedy Crunch is because we just had a credit crunch and we were giving people free ice cream as an incentive to get them in. But like, no one was going out, no one was doing anything. I think unemployment was about 14%. And we just kind of did it like, listen, if you had a good time, throw some money in. You do get the odd scabby student who kind of pats the pockets. Someone threw LSD in though recently, which I thought was a bit of a win. It's quite a rare donation.
I wouldn't go near LSD, Hannah. Hannah used to do ayahuasca. You haven't done it recently?
No, I haven't done for 2 years.
How many times did you do ayahuasca? About 40 times.
About 40 times.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is fucking amazing.
But over like 4 years.
There's a lot of purging because you get sick and stuff quite a lot.
Have you done that stuff?
No, I did DMT, the dimethyltryptamine stuff, but I wouldn't, because I know you get sick and you've got to spend a lot of time throwing up.
It's like a whole ceremony, like a whole day.
And you weren't nervous about how it would affect you?
I was a bit, and they said to me before you do it, don't have anything else going on. Like if you've got like a bit of trauma or you got a bit of a bad breakup or something lingering in your brain, don't do it. But I was in an alright place at the time. So.
And where did you do it?
I did it in some weird gaff up in the middle of the hills in Wicklow, about maybe half an hour from Blessington.
So you felt safe?
Yeah, well, as safe as you can be on a mattress in a stranger's gaff, like. You know what I mean?
That doesn't sound safe to me. A mattress. That sounds like the worst. But anyway,
you're only out for about 20 minutes,
but it feels like
8 to 10 hours. It's mad.
Is it?
Yeah.
So is that the thing that Joe Rogan talks about?
So basically it comes from like a bark and you smoke, and I don't smoke, so like I used to smoke like whatever when I was younger, so I found it quite hard to hold it in, so you smoke it through a bottle, kind of like an old school bong that when you smoked hash in the 90s, and you have to hold it in and then you kind of count backwards, but you go into a different, it's the closest to a near-death experience that you'll do without dying. That's the best way I can describe it.
It's short and intense.
Yeah. A near death. So
like in relationship with Dave.
So wait a second. So
you have to die before you live.
Danny, just hang a sec. So when you were in the experience, did you feel, if you're having a near death experience, surely you're scared out of your wits.
You're totally out of body. I couldn't even feel myself breathing, if that makes sense. You're gone into a totally different universe, and when it starts to fade out, then it's like you're coming out of an operation, I suppose, the only way I can describe it.
But when you say it's a near death experience, like if you're near death, surely you're very scared.
Well, no, it's kind of peaceful because you see that light and that kind of. Some people have, like, if they have a motorbike accident before they hit the road. So DMT apparently is a chemical that's in all of our body. It's in nature.
Sorry, it's so funny you said that. I haven't thought about that because I had a few, 3 bike crashes, but there was one in particular where it was hit from behind or something, and there was that little moment where it was quite peaceful.
That's exactly what that is. So DMT gets released into your brain to protect you because it knows you're about to hit the deck.
Just before you die.
Yeah. So can you describe then, so you say it lasts for 20 minutes, but it felt like hours and hours and hours. Was there any epiphany or moment of clarity?
It wasn't like, I didn't see anything I'd ever seen before. It was like totally different, mad kind of geometrics. It was like accessing a different part of your brain. The guy that facilitated it with us said it's like throwing a hand grenade into your consciousness. And that's exactly, I did it with a guy called Shane Brown. Actually, he used to do comedy a long time ago, and then Shane did a podcast about it called The Other Place, which is all about kind of experimenting, but it's fascinating, like really, really. It was like 10 therapy sessions in one go. I couldn't speak for hours afterwards. I was just totally. Were you the same with ayahuasca?
Yeah. It really takes a long time to assimilate or process whatever you go through, and it make you really vulnerable afterwards.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's and it's very hard to go back to real world.
Yeah, absolutely. Days. I was driving afterwards, and I was just like, for about an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because ayahuasca.
But you're fairly tough, like that. You could do that, and like did it shift your consciousness, or did it make you look at things differently? Is there something that stayed with you?
Yeah, for sure. The way I felt about it, the second one, they do 2 of them. They call it a driving lesson, which is the first one to make sure you know that you're okay doing it, and then they do another one straight away. So just before you have enough time to go, oh my god, that wasn't great, they do another one pretty much straight away.
So you did another one?
I did a second one. So I was out for nearly 20 minutes the first time. Second time was about 22 minutes. Your man times it or whatever. But I was crying and everything. I don't remember. I woke up, my face was wet, and I was crying. Yeah. And apparently I was lifting myself up off the mattress saying, thank you. So I was thanking this spirit thing that I'd seen.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was class. Wow. It was really amazing. I don't know if I do it again. I probably wouldn't have the head for it now because I'm stressed.
You don't know if you do it again because... But do you think like a lot of people should do it? Like maybe addicts.
If your head's in the right place, but you need to do.
But nobody's head is in the right. If your head is in the right place, surely you wouldn't want to do it.
But enough that it won't. What your man said to me, if you've got stuff going on that you're not dealing with, he said the spirit god will basically slap the fuck out of you. Do you get what I mean?
I do get what you mean. I'm definitely not doing it.
But
then.
Also, the people.
There's no fucking way, because I've got a lot of stuff going on that I don't have any idea about. I am afraid out of my wits. The spirit god would just go like this, here, buddy, and
you might not come back. You might open the doors you can't close. That's
imagine what
thing.
His Mandelas would look like.
Yeah.
Actually,
his what?
Your man said the Mandelas are all these geometric-y things when you start.
But wait a second, Danny. You're talking about like people know what the fuck are Mandelas? does.
They're like mad. Like if you stand up too quick and you see kind of stars, you see all these geometric patterns.
Yeah.
I actually saw a Dave McSavage Mandela. I was walking through London. I did a sound check in Top Secret, and I had noise cancelling earphones in because you need them in London to block out London. And he came up behind me on a fucking bicycle, and he was like 80% scarf. He looked like Lenny Kravitz. And he was just on a Boris bike, and I only saw him like 1 second outside Top Secret in Covent Garden. I was like, oh, like the ghost of Dave McSavage coming towards you.
I'm 80% scarf, Daniel. Do you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, and it's true. That's a good observation.
How dare you? You geometric. But that's amazing that you have the balls to do that, and Hannah as well. Like, I would be very afraid to do DMT, or maybe I should do it.
I've seen you do very ballsy things in street performance. I don't think you.
Well, yeah, but that's that's a different type of ballsiness. But it is good. It is good to confront fears. It's a terrible fucking thing to live in fear of whatever. Fear of saying stuff. Fear of obviously joking. I mean, I'm talking about. I don't know. It's just good to, if somebody is pissing you off or saying stuff or just giving you dirty looks, it's good to go up to somebody and say, "Mate, what's going on?
Yeah,
Are you, because you don't want to be a little meek little bastard." And I guess I'm talking about what we do as well. Because there does seem to be a little sort of militant cabal of people who are just waiting for you to fuck up. And we are bound to fuck up as comedians. That's part of our remit. We have to occasionally fuck up. But our intention is not to encourage violence against anyone.
Not at all. Like
except maybe you are.
But the saddest fuckers that I have ever experienced is people waiting to give out to someone for saying something. Like waiting in the shadows, or waiting for you to say something so they can jump on you. It reminds me of people who are bullied in school have now just found a way to bully themselves.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, to bully other people. Yeah.
There's little forgiveness in the word. Like
but
you see, I know people. You just cancel.
I know people, and I've suffered from. I'm full of every fucking human defect, but I know there's definitely. I've seen people who are so hateful towards whoever that if they see those people having a good time, it makes them feel physical pain.
Yeah.
Right? And I've seen it when I was growing up. You'd go to these house parties, okay, and there'd be stuff going on in this room, stuff going on in that room. There'd be a stairs, and there'd always be one person sitting on the stairs, bawling. Is usually a girl bawling her eyes out because she wasn't getting attention from the guy she fancied, or she was being ostracized from one. But that was her way of getting attention on her. So there'd be a little group of people around her.
Yeah.
And so a buzzkill, but it was all local, but now that person sitting on the stairs crying, has a voice and is listened to by way more people than they should be, and I think a lot of the cancel culture comes from people who are jealous of other people's abilities, or whatever. They see other people having fun and they decide to misinterpret what that person is saying, take it out of context.
You'll never get someone who's doing better than you having a go at you. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Never. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like it's always someone who's pissed off or whatever. And I just don't get it. Like, we only get one go around the clock. Like, do you really want to be sitting on the internet waiting to be pissed off about shit? Go for a walk. Have a vape.
well, it was funny. There was a thing back in the day called Points of View. I think his name was Barry Cryer, and people would write in and say, "I really objected to blah blah blah." And I remember being a kid and thinking, "God, you got nothing going on in your life where you'd fucking comment on some." It really reveals like that whoever the people are freaking out about whatever it is, they mustn't have goals, or they must be. Sort of, I don't know, OCD or on the spectrum.
Do you ever hear that phrase, busy people don't see ghosts?
Right.
And my mate said that to me a long time ago, and I love that, because I think if you have the time to be doing any of that shit, whether you're tweeting or writing letters or whatever, like, what are you doing?
Well, there's a guy, I don't know if have you heard of the Butternutter?
No.
Okay, so there was a guy, I think it was pre-pandemic, was it?
Pre and during pandemic.
During pandemic. So there's a couple of seats.
Is this your neighbour?
Yeah. What do you call those municipal benches? And they were near where he lived, and he didn't like people congregating on the benches. So he would cover the benches in butter, in like big vats of industrial margarine, mashed banana, builder's lime, whatever. And but mean-spirited, myopic, introspective, control freak, bully, coward.
Yeah.
And, I call it, I'd never reveal who it is. I know who it is, but I'd never reveal his identity or her.
Maybe we should.
No, don't want to. But I saw him recently given dirty looks. I was talking to this
You weren't brushing your teeth in the mirror, Dave.
That's right. I am the butternutter.
It's Fight Club scenario.
But no, it is. I know a lot of people thought it was. But I saw him recently, and I was talking to this neighbour, very nice lady, and this guy was giving her dirty looks, and I just thought, oh fuck, and because I won't talk about what the issue is, but I just thought, what, like you say, busy people don't see ghosts. Like you say, life is short enough. You live in these neighborhoods, and he just creates just such a shit little atmosphere. It's so unnecessary, but he's a bully and he's a coward, and we all know what we do with bullies. So, Butternutter, if you're listening and I see you at that crack again, well, I'm just going to confront you in a very non-violent,
2 slices of toast,
in a very non-violent, but a very serious way, because you are a bully, Butternutter. Shame on you for giving dirty looks and intimidating women. The lowest form of behaviour for a man. Okay, so with respect, fuck off. I'm so angry, Hannah. Butternutter, fuck you.
In old days, you used to pull the pens.
Oh, wedgie.
Do the wedgie.
Yeah, he needs a wedgie. That's exactly what he needs.
Like toasty wedgie, like a butter wedgie.
I have a theory. I'm interested in both your perspective on this. I don't think since COVID anyone's really had a punch in the face in about 4 years. Do you get what I mean? Because of the pandemic and stuff, it kind of stopped all of that. Or,
so people are walking around and they need reminding. Well, they need a straightener.
I got a few clatters as a teenager, and it was awful at the time, but it kind of did develop my personality, because I was being annoying or being a mouthy little prick to older lads, and they give me a bit of a kicking, and I kind of went, probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Well, when you say kicking, you're not down on the ground and they're kicking you.
Well, there was a bit of that as well outside our local nightclub. Wicklow was a violent place.
That's very low behaviour. You can't. If somebody's down on the ground, you don't kick them.
Oh no, but these are like this. We're all teenagers and stuff. Do you know what I mean? The older lads was just whatever.
But I know what you mean, Danny. Not that you're supporting, but sometimes like a straight, like somebody who's way off. Yeah, they need to be sort of brought back, and you can't say that, you can't behave like that. And sometimes, I mean, it's not the only way to communicate to someone, but it's a very sharp shock way of reminding somebody.
I was doing a gig in the Ambassador last Friday, I think, and when I was in college like a million years ago, me and my mate were walking down from just literally kind of past the Garden of Remembrance toward the Ambassador, and this is the first time I think I ever saw kind of racially motivated violence in Dublin. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was really definitive. And me and my friend, we were 18, walking down. They lived in this little flat in North Frederick Street, little basement, walking down the road, and I saw there was a group of young lads, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 of them, but some of them were like in their 30s, right? And then a couple of lads were 15, chased after this young Asian kid, and we thought they were messing, but he was running in and out of the traffic to get away from them, and we were like, what's going on? And they grabbed him, and they were just like grabbing him by the school bag, giving him a few kicks. It was horrible to watch, right? I mean, my mate were 18, we were like, should we just get your man? But then we look up and there's like 10 lads up there, and they were like men. And we were both conflicted, going, this is horrible.
Yeah, because you're going to put yourself in harm's way.
What are we going to do? And while we're like going, and he was from Waterford, he was well able to have a scrap, and we were like, maybe we'll just do it and then run. And as we're doing that, do you know like those builders vans, like the Volkswagen Caddy, the caravan type things? There was a chippy who'd just seen exactly what we'd seen. Gets out of his van, took out a piece of floorboard, like a bit of like whatever, and your man's walking up with the Conor McGregor walk, delighted after bullying this kid, and your man absolutely took him out of it with a plank of wood. He broke it over his arm. Your man's screaming, and your man's like, yeah! And the whole street cheered. It was beautiful.
Yeah. No,
it was beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Yeah. I know a good sort of justifiable fucking karma.
Yeah.
Bastards. Anyway, but Butternutter's annoying the shit out of me now. I haven't seen him in ages, and I just see him now. He's lurking around the place, giving people dirty looks.
Do you want me to do a knick-knack on his gaff before I go?
God, we used to love doing that when we were kids.
Such good crack.
So, like, Danny, you started so how long has the Comedy Crunch been going?
About 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And how many? So for people not aware, like, how many clubs are running at the moment in Dublin?
Man, over 10, I'd say. Definitely over 10. At one stage...
Well, yours is running... Is it 2 nights a week?
We're 3 nights a week.
3 nights.
The Inter's 7 nights a week. Then you got the Laughter Lounge. There's loads of different pop-up ones all over the city.
Crackdown is now 7 nights.
Is that 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's... Yeah, like the one good thing... I know people, it's easy to complain about comedy all the time. It's very rare when you gig in loads of cities as well. There's very few cities you can gig every night into a decent crowd, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in LA or out like that, you can't really gig. You do like a really shit bar show on like a Monday night, but Dublin's good that it's so small that you can gig every night. You can double up if you want, you can triple up if you want, and the same as yourself, even popping over the Top Secret all the time to get your stuff together for your shows. So I'm grateful for that. But if I wasn't running stuff in Dublin, I don't think I'd be living here. I think I'd just be gone somewhere else.
Would you not?
Yeah, the more I travel with gigs, I'm kind of like, what am I doing in Dublin?
Well, you're quite prolific, aren't you?
Yeah, but it have to be, because we can't just sit around in Dublin all the time or you get sick of it. So I think every time you go away, it's good for the balance.
Where's the strangest or the farthest flung place you've gigged?
I did the first ever English speaking gig in Guatemala. No one had done it. It was all Spanish speaking. I was the only.
Which city was that?
It was in Guatemala City itself, and then I did Antigua.
What's the name of the country that Guatemala City's in? It's called Guatemala.
Yeah. So Guatemala's the country and Guatemala City. And it used to be Antigua.
Did you know that, Hannah? No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
She used to run with narcos. She knows.
Where's Guatemala?
It used to be part of Mexico, bang in the Central America, beside like Belize.
Yeah. And so would you have performed to expats or locals?
It was a mix. It was probably about 80%. I have a few mates who live over there. One of my mates owns a bar. That's why I ended up going over there. But it was great crack, and like English speaking comedy is becoming so accessible now because of YouTube and Netflix, so you can kind of gig anywhere. I was just doing shows in Bangkok and Vietnam last
Where did you play in Bangkok?
The Comedy Joint on Koh San Road. Yeah, were you there? No, you were with the other one. You were in
Chris Wagoda.
Why are you laughing?
Did you play there?
No.
Did you talk to him?
No, absolute villain origin story. Good luck.
Well, anyway, yeah, I did. The door split wasn't great. That's another thing about doing. People don't understand. Like, well, you know, when you do stand up, you play in these venues, and you do. Hopefully, you get an 80-20 door split. Usually it's 70-30.
Yeah.
It's good if you can get an 80-20, but usually the venues, they're making money off the bar. But some venues will start putting added costs on the settlement. And recently I did a gig, shocking costs before the door split. And if you call them out on it, they kind of, you know, they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
They play dumb.
Yeah. So fuck that. It's really annoying because it takes us. It took me, shall I say, decades to get to the point where you can actually fucking shift that you can actually sell some tickets, and then suddenly you've got a little bit of money, and then you have people coming in.
I always think of any kind of show exactly like that. If you're doing a theatre in Dublin, any tour show anywhere that you do yourself, I think of it as like a kilo of cocaine that comes from Colombia. So it starts off at 100% in Colombia, and then it makes its way around the world.
Purity, yeah.
Then it goes to England, then it gets cut again, then it comes back through Wexford, and by the time we get it, it's probably 20% left.
Bits of fucking twigs in it.
Bits of twigs in it, and everyone's had their hand in it.
Yeah.
And everyone does the maths. Like if you do 1,000 seats and you're 30 quid a ticket, they just go, Dave's just made 30 grand. Have you fuck? Like.
And the really annoying thing, I played one venue. Right, and then I played a venue the night before, and then the venue the night before was half the amount of audience, but I made the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Less is more, and a lot of...
No, but it's really annoying. I don't want it.
You were in Sligo. I won't name the venue, but it's a really cool little venue in
Sligo.
No,
Lily's is fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant little venue.
Yeah, but I mean,
rare.
Yeah, but that is rare.
Yeah.
Danny, you've got a little thing there. Yeah. It's like it looks like you were wearing sparkly.
That's a sparkle.
Oh really?
Yeah, it looks like you were wearing. Are you
but
quite?
It's okay. He's just sparkling.
Yeah,
he's a star.
I just came from a drag show.
Yeah, I know. He's quite kinky.
Just doing
Danny.
bumps at
Now, so there was some story about you and Bill Burr.
Yeah.
That I just remembered. that where he was telling a story and you kept on interrupting. Have you heard that? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's one of those stories that it's like Chinese whisper. Is that racist to say Chinese whispers?
No, it's not. Come on, David.
No, I'm telling you, it probably is.
Maybe, but it's been said.
But
for
go
so
on.
many
I heard,
years.
like, you know, look. Excuse me.
You're gone.
Basically, Bill Burr was telling a story, and at one point he said, "Yeah, Danny, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Something like that. And you know, I don't know.
It was about a helicopter. In,
And like during his performance?
Wait a second, Danny.
I swear to God, I remember.
Danny, can I just say, if I am in the presence, like who would I be in the like? You know when you really fancy.
But he opened for Bill Burr.
I know he did. You know when you really fancy a woman or something, you suddenly you become self-conscious. So it's like, and I guess, you know, if you're somebody like Bill Burr or whoever, you said, you know. Anyway, you opened for Bill Burr. Which gig was it?
The Tree Arena.
Was that the first time you'd done it?
Yeah, for sure. It was
How
class.
was it?
It was unbelievable.
Were you shitting yourself?
Absolutely.
And did people even listen to you? Were they just
the first few minutes were really hard.
Okay.
They were really hard, and there was about, I'm going to say 500 people all milling around at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It was like Sims, and people were locked, and they're just like, and the side mic didn't work. So the sound, there was one sound tech on that night. This is so Irish as well. And he was out having a blade and rolly at the Liffey, the only sound tech at the Three Arena. So he went up to the side mic with Bren Berry to introduce me, and it was turned off. So
there was no introduction.
So he went on stage, and the whole Three Arena went ballistic. And he goes, all right, calm down. I got a support act. You're going to love him, Danny O'Brien.
Yeah.
About 4 people clapped. And I had to walk, and the applause stopped before I got to the mic.
Oh no! No! Just let's. I mean, that's, you know, that's like Netflix horror story.
Yeah.
So wait a sec. So you got your microphone there.
Yeah.
And the applause. Then
Stopped. Yeah, petered out, and then it was like walking towards the gas chamber.
How he is!
Yeah.
Fuck off!
Horrible.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to see
No
you,
interest. Why would they?
obviously.
Like,
So what was the? I mean, it actually, as I'm saying it to you, it doesn't sound like much of a story. So he was talking about a helicopter.
we did the gig. The first 5 minutes were fairly difficult, and then it got into it, and then it was grand. I was like, thank God. And when the house lights come up for the break, very randomly, Tommy Tiernan was there with his kid in front. Now, I couldn't see him during the show, and so was Jim from the Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Oh, yeah.
But they were both beside each other, and I was like, thank fuck I didn't see them. You know,
Right.
And then we ended up in a lock-in, so I got a call from Bren, because they legged it from the Three Arena and went up to this pub off Thomas Street. I think it's like the Thomas House or something like that. Anyway, we ended up in a lock-in there and drinking whiskey till 6 in the morning, but Bill was talking about a helicopter, and I was talking shite about him. Like, I don't understand how the fucking physics of a helicopter work, and he's like, shut the fuck up, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, but I think it was and then Bill Burr, like, and Danny wouldn't shut up, and then he and then, you know, finally Bill said, shut the fuck up, and the whole place and the whole place got quiet, and it was so tense, and then, you know, Danny just started shaking, and but you know this,
it wasn't a scene from Goodfellas.
I know, yeah, but it's But that's how, you know, by the time that tiny little fucking not inconsequential interaction got through the mill, you know. And then Danny he got into a fight, and Brennan held him down, and they waterboarded him. Yeah, they pegged him. And then Bill Burr, shut the fuck up, Danny.
But Danny, you shouldn't have interrupted Bill Burr.
Oh, for fuck's sake! If your idea, but it puts a whole different thing. They're 6 in the fucking morning. Everybody's pissed out of it.
That's courage.
No, I was just fucking hammered and talking shit.
Was Bill drinking?
Yeah, he had the crack.
Oh yeah.
He was good at a laugh. I actually I was walking through Temple Bar, and I hadn't been in town because of the Christmas and all that.
Because of the Christmas.
No, sorry, I was away, so I hadn't seen all the Christmas lights and stuff, and I was walking through the city centre, and I got a memory, and I was thinking about him because I was doing the podcast or whatever, and I remember distinctively, I was probably about 15 maybe, so 25 years ago, and you were outside where the halfpenny is, and you were busking, and there was a massive crowd around Dave, maybe 200 people, right? And at the time, Oasis and Blur were at that massive, you know, top of the charts type thing. And I'd never seen it like that. Like, I grew up in the country. I'd never been to a comedy gig, so I'd seen Dave street performing in town. and he was taking the piss out of all these various nationalities, and I was like, this is fucking hilarious. And a guy walked through, you know the way you've got that circle that no one really goes through, the street performance space, and this guy with the most Liam Gallagher haircut I have ever seen in my life, right? And he literally was giving it loads walking through the group, and he stops whatever he's saying and goes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Liam Gallagher, and starts playing Oasis, and he turns around and goes, fuck off, and then he goes, yeah, it's definitely him. I always think about that when I go past that square.
Yeah, it's funny though, it's funny like the Irish sensibility, because in Australia I tried to do that type of street show.
Yeah, and
they didn't really.
Sensitive.
They didn't. Yeah, they're too sensitive. They're too
funny.
Sensitive.
Aussies get very aggro as well.
Yeah, they get very. They're smart to a point, and then actually no.
Yeah.
No, that's no. You can't pay out. I think that's what they.
Yeah.
Whereas it's so ingrained in our culture.
So Danny, you're saying that seeing David, you got inspired.
I can't play guitar. I've never done street performance.
But like you know.
Yeah, but like I was like, holy fuck! If he can make money doing this, I could surely do something.
But
street performance is the hardest hustle though.
What about what's so good about Bill Burr? He's quite an assassin, isn't he? Comedically speaking, there's something about his way of his economical way of getting to the thing, and just being on the very edge of what you're supposed to say, which is not. But it's so funny.
He walks the line.
I think the funny. Yeah, right. He walks the line brilliantly.
And he channels his rage, I think, in the best way.
Yes.
And a lot of it's all about his childhood and about his like parenting growing up, and he's just found, and like the thing is, when you talk about your own experiences, if it's happened to you, no one can take that away from you. So they can't say, well, you can't say that, and you're like, well, I fucking can because it happened to me. So,
and again, I go back to, I don't know who said it, but usually when people are complaining about comedy, they're saying what they heard or what they're pissed off about is they're saying it's not, they didn't find it funny, but he's so undeniably funny.
He's an animal.
He's
like
an
that,
animal.
I think that
I mean, I saw him playing in front of where was it? Is it a traditionally sort of black audience? I think it's the Apollo or something.
Yeah.
And he was talking about sort of race, which is so contentious in the United States.
And his wife's black as well.
And his wife's black. But I mean, he ripped that. He just blew the doors. I can't remember what I've seen it a few times.
Have you heard about is this the Philadelphia?
No,
incident?
it's in New York. There's some famous venue in New York. I think it's in Harlem.
Yeah.
And for a white comic to go there, they usually just get destroyed. But this guy, Bill Burr, I mean, it just walks on so unassuming, white face and ginger hair, and just undeniably
To any new comics, I always tell them to look up that clip called the Philadelphia incident, where he did a gig in a baseball stadium, and it's only audio. The video is so bad you can't even.
I know
watch
the one
it,
you're talking about. Yeah.
And he goes on, and it's like
mayhem.
It's like Hill 16
Yeah.
during a Dublin final. It's just bah. And
Fuck
he just
you.
goes, and he's like, "Fuck you! I hope you all get cancer. You don't even need to shave your don't even need to shave your heads because you're already bald. You fucks, you fat cheesesteak eating fucks." And
that's right.
He lashes into them, and then he goes 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he does another minute, and then he goes 8 minutes. And by about like 6 minutes in, he turned the whole gig
incredible,
around. It was
Danny.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Blew my mind.
And he saw the abyss. And he found the measure of himself as a performer, and he held his ground. And I think that kind of partly was the making of
absolutely
him.
100%. Yeah.
There was also another incident where Jim Jeffries, I think he was attacked or something on stage.
He was at the Comedy Store in Manchester.
Yeah.
Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but a guy got on stage. But that was really definitive for him, and he ended up in a bit of a scrap with your man on stage. But he came back on afterwards, and finished the gig, and then he became a kind of.
I've been attacked many times. It's never fucking helped me.
You've been punched loads.
It's never helped me. It's never elevated.
You're just
but you were drunk at the time.
You're just not getting punched by the right people.
Yeah, I'm not getting punched by the right people. It's not been presented in the right way. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Bill Burr. Yeah. Who else? Who else are comedy here? Well, I remember seeing Tommy Tiernan back in the day, 1997. And he was head and shoulders above all the comedians at that time.
What about Ricky Gervais? I think he's extremely
Well,
funny.
The Office was groundbreaking.
Stand-up is funny.
He was only
as
37
well.
when he started, which was 37, which I think is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? It's never too late.
It's such a well pitched The Office.
It was phenomenal level of cringe that no one had ever experienced.
That's right.
It was the emotion of
Phenomenal,
the embarrassment that we were all like.
Yes.
I remember I used to live in a little flat in Rathmines, and I remember going to the UK for Christmas. My uncle lives over there, and I got The Office season 1 and 2 on DVD, and me and my mates got stoned and watched the two of them back to back. And by the second season, I had a cushion in my mouth. Just like wincing, but loving every minute of it.
Fantastic.
We don't do that anymore.
But no, we don't do what anymore?
That kind of embarrassment when you're watching something. You know, I'm not talking about like Love Island or something, but it's very rare a series or a comedy show would invoke that level of cringe, but you love it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's
but
all over, it's all over social media, the cringe stuff, definitely. Anyway, I think that's where it's been.
What do you mean, Daniel?
Well, just just like people like act like post videos and act in a certain way, like.
That level of cringe is there, 100%.
Yeah.
But like, it was never a TV show that did that gave you that emotion. Real people, every single day of my life.
Did you do Edinburgh last year?
I did. This was my 13th Edinburgh that I just did this year. So it's been a bit of a marathon. You've done loads of them, haven't you?
Well, I did 6 or 7 in a row, but I haven't done any since 2003, Hannah, or something. 2006 or maybe 2000.
I don't know what
year,
but a long time ago.
It's essential, but it's the worst part of your year. You need about a month to recover after it mentally. Like, it's very
well. Where did you? What sort of show do you?
Three. I've won with Rory. So I do one with Rory O'Hanlon for the last 10 years.
I'd say Rory O'Hanlon is even. If you don't know, folks, Rory O'Hanlon is another stand-up comedian. I actually saw Rory do a show where he opened up about himself.
A solo show.
Yeah, and I thought it was really I really enjoyed that. I mean, he's a good stand-up, but him sort of revealing himself, it was unusual to see that side of Rory O'Hanlon. Yeah. He's quite poker playerish.
Yeah, for
Rory.
sure. But that's kind of, it's very Irish as well. Do you know what I mean?
It is,
very male Irish.
But I was really impressed by his... but what I'm trying to say about Rory, like, he is so hard working that I sometimes imagine that there's maybe 2 or 3 Rory O'Hanlons. Because you see him all the time. Rory, how can I just saw you in Dublin
in the Rory verse?
In the Rory verse, like he's in.
Anytime I meet Rory, it's funny you say that, because every time I meet Rory in London, Dave pops up, like the paperclip in Microsoft. He's just there. Like, the last 3 times I've met Rory in London, Dave's just been there by default without any plan.
Do you reckon Rory works harder than you?
Yeah, I think we work the same. We're both just every day you're doing something, whether you're putting up a clip or but Rory loves the gig. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like myself. I'm always like, I'd love to take a day off. Then I'm sitting at home going, I wish I was gigging.
Tell people though what happens if we don't. Do you get rusty, flabby very quickly? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you?
I feel a bit mad. Like, I just feel a bit. I don't know. As much as people complain about the Fringe, for example. That's September, October after Edinburgh.
Oh,
you're an animal, like, and you don't even realise how quick and.
Well, yeah, it's funny. So, yeah, when you've done show, and then you come back here, you're just so relaxed. Every thought is, you can just connect, and it can go so quickly.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm looking at your gym equipment here. I think it's the exact same as exercise. Like, a couple of months of like bad eating and drinking can really set you back.
Well, how long during COVID? How long did you not perform for?
I never stopped because I started doing these virtual shows, which were absolute murder. The stuff of nightmares.
Okay, go on.
So and then I was doing outdoor gigs in the flats during the pandemic, and then we made a TV show as well, but it was
who was it?
Me and Damo.
Yeah.
We did gigs.
So there was some clip where there was an apartment complex.
Yeah, it was like around the
Coliseum.
Yeah, the flats. Yeah,
apartment complex.
No, they're just like
apartment complex.
Imagine
they don't have apartment.
Imagine you were delivering. Imagine him delivering stuff down to the flats.
Social housing.
Yeah.
Quite depressing. They did Late Toy Show, I think.
Huh?
Yeah, during the COVID, they did
Who's
Late. RTE, the late toy show.
Yeah.
In those apartment complexes.
Loads of videos went viral. They were doing bingo and all this kind of crack, and we just did it because Damo lived close to me, and we were like, I'd rather do this than nothing.
Yeah.
And then we did it, and I was like, I should have stayed doing nothing because some of them were class.
Oh, I did a few of those thing in Top Secrets where you'd have a Zoom,
oh
like 20 people.
It's like Robot Wars with a plastic screen in front.
Yeah,
of
and you just people sitting on the couch just looking at you like that.
And then you said you did one on Teams. It was
horrific.
One on what?
I set up a company and we did loads of virtual shows, and they were good to be able to make a bit of income during the pandemic, but so bad for the soul. And I think we did 10 of them. It was around the Christmas of 2020, so December 2020.
Oh, Teams. Do you mean that? So a company would try and a bonding
Christmas party, exactly. Imagine, I would pay 500 quid to watch him do one of them.
Look. Christmas parties, okay. An extension of the work. The people there don't want to be there. They have to be there, and and also it's probably a bit of a tax write-off for the so that it's not going to cost the company that much money. But it's possibly because nobody's paid to go and see you. That, like I was saying before, so they don't. They're just like they feel it's a forced situation, and so you have people trying to perform and connect with people who probably wouldn't even hang out with each other socially.
Like you even.
Well, yeah, but and also they can't be exactly themselves. They're not. It's just an awkward bastard of a place to perform, and then on top of that, you're doing it over. Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out for a second there, Paula.
Yeah. You cut out for a second, there, Danny. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
One of the worst.
And then just people just going, look, performing in front of this. Look.
People were playing FIFA on other screens. Their kids were coming in. The worst one I did is that we started getting heckled in the chat. So 2 lads started going, "This is shit," in the chat that we could also see.
Did they not know that
I don't
you could
think
see?
they cared. So we had to read someone heckling us while we were trying to do an online show, and then we had to do one on Teams, which is like a special needs communication app. It's the worst of the worst.
Did they pay you though?
Yeah, but like there was like I had to do loads of DMT to get over it. So it squandered all the money on therapy. Like.
Jesus Christ. But I remember, I don't think I did stand up for maybe 8 months or something during the pandemic, and then getting on stage again, it was so strange. You're standing on stage, you're looking at an audience and they're looking up at you with expectation, and you're going, oh, fuck off. Why you look?
Dave's looking at them like it's a cock coming out of him in a shower.
No, I'm looking at, but you're looking at them. So because what I'm trying to say is, because when you do comedy, so many shows, you're just in the flow.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't even think about it. It's just, but if you haven't done it for ages, you're just. And you're just looking at everything, and everything, you can't handle anything, Hannah.
Danny, was it your concept? I was listening to your stand-up, and then you were telling about the cock, about being Mexican or Spanish, that someone...
Oh, yeah, sorry. my old manager, Duck, who's a hilarious dude, so
there's a guy called Duck. Duck also manages Foil, Arms and Hog.
Dave made them.
I made them. And they've forgotten me.
I actually only ever said that bit of material that night ever because he was there, and I just thought it was funny, and it became the best bit of the whole show. And it was the only bit that wasn't kind of semi-prepared in my head. So years ago, we were at the Fringe and we were down in Underbelly, and when you're just broken by the festival, we were 3 weeks in, hadn't eaten any fruit, eyes hanging out of your head. You need to go home and just eat some soup and sit in a dark room for a week.
Yeah.
And I was doing shows in Barcelona the next month.
Who did you do? Okay.
I was with a promoter called Zara, who does an Irish promoter, but I do the Comedy Clubhouse now. But this is years ago. This is pre-COVID. She used to do show in an Irish venue somewhere.
Does she still do it?
No. She's got a different business. She comes to the gigs though. But a Comedy Clubhouse is really good crack there. But it's kind of a gig holiday, yourself. And I said to Duck, I'm going to...
No, just finish the
Sorry.
I said, I'm going to Barcelona to do some shows. And he goes, might go with you, it'd be nice to get away. And I said, yeah, jump on it. And he goes, yeah, well, I have a Spanish Mickey. And I said, what? And he goes, my Mickey is Spanish. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, my Mickey's a different colour.
Oh no!
To the rest of me, and he's like, as you know, Doug, he's as white and Irish can be, but his penis is literally the colour of this. He's like 9 shades darker on his shaft. I made him show it to me because we were hammered just the side of it, like I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then his now fiance, when I did that material, she actually sent me a colour chart from like Woody's and said he's about here.
Oh, that's disgusting, Daniel.
I was laughing. I wondered, was it like, you know, the way babies get swapped?
He's been probably fiddling with it for so long, he's turned it a different colour.
He's changed its race.
He's changed its race. That is a serious level of masturbazione. Me and Hannah just went to Barcelona. We played in...
You played?
What was the place called? Can you remember?
I don't...
Space Cowboy?
No.
Red Garter.
Yeah.
It was but what's actually, that's the great thing about social media. It's quite revolutionary. You know, we just tagged Barcelona Gales because in Barcelona there'd be GAA Irish group, maybe 2,000.
Wow.
Or not 2,000. Fuck, it would probably be 400, 300 or 200, whatever it was. Anyway, but sold out like the place.
Brilliant.
And it is quite touching when you're performing in other countries. And Irish people come to support you. You know, it's a different. It's quite. But what I'm just trying to say is, it just, you know, it's amazing that you can just on your phone. It's almost like texting people saying, "Hey, I'm going to be," you know. It's just
for all the, like, it's easy to give out as well. And I'm guilty of this myself. But like, Irish people generally are very supportive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, outside,
especially abroad. For sure.
Yeah.
You know. And then like it's class because I find as well, and I'm sure you're the same people will come and see you every year, especially if they're expats living in, like, I'm going to Prague in January, and there's a group that came to a gig once who have now come every single year, and it's deadly to see them, and then it puts the pressure on you going, shit, I need to make sure I do a different show to make sure that it's good material. And all that kind of crack. So what's the club in Barcelona called? Comedy Clubhouse.
Okay, what does it hold?
About 100, 80
really?
or 100.
You should have played in that venue.
Well, you still have a chance to do it next time.
But it was a good. It's a nice. We stayed in the Gothic Quarter, didn't we, Hannah?
Oh, it's class there.
Beautiful city.
Amazing very food rich. As well.
And the ladies, I have to say, if there are any Barcelona ladies, as a 58-year-old man whose libido is on the wane, congratulations. They all look very athletic, and they just look like they're very, very atractivo.
Yeah,
but maybe,
I'm not sure that they were flirting with you, though. I didn't think that you were very popular among them.
You've got kind of Catalan energy, Dave. Maybe it's just a scarf.
Catalan. But what did we like? Yeah, the food was nice.
Oh, food was delicious. Yeah. Everything.
But, you know, again, people, you know, they say, oh, Barcelona was great, you know, but I'm trying to come up with this material about the idea that, you know, we're all free. Are we really free? Like, where can you actually go? In Barcelona, where can you go? You can't go into any of the houses, obviously, because they're private houses, privately owned. So you just have to walk on the street and look. I find that boring, personally. This was built in 1583. Couldn't give a fuck, right? Then you can go to this bar, but you can't sit there. You have to buy something. You know what I mean? So I'm just not a...
Parks are pretty good. You can do
the parks. I can sit in the fucking park.
What about clubs? Museums?
What? Look, club. What?
I'm dead.
I can't hear you. I'm 58. How old are you? 19. Great. This is not weird.
In an EDM club in Barcelona.
EDM. You know what I mean? But I guess it's okay for a while. I don't know what I want anymore.
You go to the beach.
What's your idea of a good holiday, Mr. Danny O'Brien?
Do you know what I did?
I'll tell you what your idea of I'm going to tell you. There'd have to be a comedy club there on the beach. No, whatever. Nah. Oh, are you obsessed with food?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What's that? Where did that?
I used to watch loads of cooking shows when I was younger.
Are you a good cook?
And then I used to, instead of going to college, I used to get really stoned and watch Ready Steady Cook.
Oh, so yeah, I'd have munchies.
That was the genesis of that.
No, but do you know what you like when you go on holiday?
Yeah, I kind of like doing stuff, though. I couldn't lie on a beach for a week. I'd lose my mind. I fucked off on a motorbike in Vietnam for 4 days.
I love that.
That was the best thing that I've done this year.
I agree with that.
4 days
so
only.
The promoter over there, who's one of the best promoters I've ever worked with, his name is Dan Dockery. He owns Stand Up Hanoi, and he owns a couple of bars in Hanoi, but he was a motorbike guide for 10 years. So he plotted a little route for me.
Well, you see, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
You're not on a tour, so I got the bike.
that's great.
So the bike, fuel, any hotel, homestay, food, everything for 4 days was under 250 quid.
That to me is a great fucking holiday.
Class.
Yeah,
because
but like
you're
you
doing
do
like he's so right.
you need to be encouraged. You need someone.
But it's so right.
You.
It's so because if you have a goal, you're doing something.
Yeah.
You're not sitting on your arse. This was built in 1621.
Yeah. Being in a group scenario, I want to kill myself. I can't think of anything worse. I did a Kilimanjaro in July.
Hannah was saying, is that the... Okay, sorry,
Tanzania.
Yeah, in Tanzania. But like, it was deadly. But the stress of being in a group, because you're waiting for everyone all the time. It's like, when you're waiting on family members when you're at something and you're like...
And what did you do that? What was the...
I did it for Men's Mental Health Charity.
Okay.
And then it was for the new show as well, to be honest with you. I just wanted to do it. Like, maybe it's a bit of a midlife crisis or something, but I thought it would just be a cool thing
to do something.
So talk us through that. Like, what's the difficulty of climbing?
It's not like physically. It's anyone. If you have a decent level of fitness, you can do it. Like, but it's the altitude sickness can kind of mess you up a little bit, and it takes 5 days to climb and then 2 days to come down.
5 fucking days.
It's just over 6,000 meters, so it's the equivalent of 12 sugar loaves on top of each other.
Wait a second. How high is Mount Everest?
That's about 8,000. This is about 6,000.
It's funny, isn't it? Like, it doesn't seem much of a difference between 6,000 and 8,000.
It's at 2,000.
But it's funny, in the Mount Everest, they call it the death zone.
Yeah, but that's another 2 kilometers up. Do you get what I mean? Like another 2K up in the sky.
And it's funny, the Sherpas, or the people, the locals who live around Mount Everest, they're so acclimatized.
They're phenomenal.
They're like different.
They go in flip flops.
Yeah. Have you seen
and there's a queue actually.
14 Peaks, with your man Nim Dai is his name.
Oh yes, I know that. I think
fucking hell, man, he is incredible. He did all of them in 8.5 months. And then there's recently an 18-year-old kid who's just done them all in the last 2 years. Started when he was 16, so by the time he's 18,
because he grew up.
Yeah.
Would he have the? Okay. So what? He just has a lung capacity that's just totally
just
different.
Young as well. And like, if you're probably at your peak when you're 16 and your brain isn't developed enough to really understand fear. So yeah, it's the perfect storm.
Fearless.
Yeah. Why does it take 5 days to climb? Is it quite?
Yeah, it's slow and steady, and then you have to climb a few. There's a thing called the Barranco Wall, which is the hardest bit, which is kind of like whatever. You're not with clamp-ons, but if you slip, you'll die. So you got to take your time.
Are they called clamp-ons or crampons?
Clamp-ons.
What are crampons?
Crampons, I don't know. Clamp-ons are ones that clamp onto your feet. They're going like ice and rocks and stuff.
And
I think crampons go on your nipples.
What is that? What's that like? Is it?
It's unreal, yeah.
Unreal in what way?
Like, climbing, it's amazing. You're above the clouds within the first couple of days. You start at about 3,000 meters. But then when you get up the top for the summit, like, you're on the top of a glacier and there's snow everywhere. And the snow is like up to your waist with this little track in the middle that you walk through. But it's a bit overwhelming because you start at midnight and you don't get up the top till 7 a.m. Do you get what I mean? So you have to hike all through the night to get up there for the sunrise. And there's all different groups doing it for all different charities. And it was class. Like, it was just, I probably wouldn't do it again. Do you know what I mean? This mental Swiss dude ran it up and down in something like 6.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, 6.5 hours.
There's different level of fitness,
mental. And he runs up the track you walk down. Do you get what I mean? So the quickest way to the top is the descent. So they opened it up specifically. But 6.5 hours is, even if he took all the drugs to do that, that is superhuman achievement.
Yeah, it's intense. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, I am quite fascinated by those documentaries when they go to Mount Everest. Like it's like, if there is a place that is called the death zone, that's all the info I need. Won't be going there. Why is it called the death zone? Because you die if you stay there. I thought that was just
the Abbey Street Lewis stop.
But it's the same, Danny, as hey everyone, welcome to SeaWorld, and now we're going to do a show with a killer. There's the thing, killer whale. Come on, Tillicum, Tillicum, wave, and this 3,000 pound fucking killer whale is, and then eventually the killer whale will just go.
There's a bit of me that kind of is like, I'm always on the whale side with that. Maybe it's because I saw Free Willy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But when I see like the lads getting fucked up or getting a tail slapped from them and stuff, and I'm like, well, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
There's a lot of ignorance.
Because if you see the square kilometers that those giant animals need to feel just mentally okay, and then they're putting this tiny enclosure with these Disney type. Hey, Telecom, Danny, look. Hey, Danny, wave, and you going, come here. You know, fucking no.
It's like putting one of us into a B-day.
Yeah, a B-day.
And just saying, stay there for the rest of your life and live your best life.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, how's he doing in the B-day?
Well, some prick is doing that to you. Well, he's sitting on the toilet beside you throwing fish at you.
I mean, come on. Fuck that. Jesus Christ. How long have we been broadcasting, Daniel?
54 minutes.
Wow.
Feels longer.
Doesn't actually. Doesn't feel longer. So, Danny, I like doing those. I like doing those gigs. The only problem is abroad. I was going to say, but it's just the stress of ticket sales. You know, you're just always worrying.
Yeah, I always go for the old fixed fee when you go abroad if you can, unless it's a solo. And
it's nice as well, though. Like you were talking about that guy in Vietnam. If he sound, so it's just like brilliant. That to me, Hannah, sound. We should go to Vietnam. I would love. Would you love to do that motorbike thing? Would you?
Oh yeah. I love adventure.
Because you remember we were in Thailand and we took the motorbikes. Wasn't that so much fun?
Yeah, it's the best thing ever.
Because you can just go here, look at there, go there. You know, stop somewhere,
pull over whenever you want.
Pull over whenever you want. Have a cafe. That's how to do it, folks. You know what I mean? Isn't it?
We were pulled by the cops.
Yeah, because I didn't have a license. And then we had to follow the cops for about a kilometre.
Just showing them savage eye clips.
No, yeah. And then we went to the cop shop and we had to pay them. What did we pay them?
20 quid.
Yeah, 20.
I got scammed with that. That's a scam. No, that's how it works.
They want you. They give you the receipt and you keep it because the next time they stop you, you have to show it. And
really?
So paid.
So you know you've already bribed.
Yeah.
Oh no! I mean they were proper cops. I thought I was kind of scared that they were going to.
I drove. This is 16 years ago. I drove around a roundabout the wrong way with a mate of mine. I think we were in Krabi. He's an English.
Oh, we were in Krabi, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were scutting around on a moped.
Scutting, you little scut.
Yeah, we went around the wrong way, right? Because we were actually following the traffic. And the cops pulled us in and they were like, get these lads, like, you know what I mean? Everyone else did it, but they pulled us in. They take the keys out of the bike straight away. And we went in and it was like a 80s cop movie. There was like a slow moving fan, do you know what I mean? There's this big massive fat guy cop behind me. He was like clearly the captain or whatever. And we'd paid 20 quid at the time, which is quite a lot of money at the time, but we were like, just pay the money. That's it. My mate's super mouthy. Builder, Irish parents, dad's a brickie from Donegal, mother's an Irish nurse, but he's like, right then, you know, right? Like whatever. We sat down and I just said, just pay him. And my mate goes, he took out this massive wad of Thai baht. So he's obviously been doing this all day, pretty lucrative business. And my mate goes, what would happen, mate, if I just took that off you? And I was just behind me going, please, no. The guy doesn't even move. Takes out the biggest Magnum handgun I've ever seen, slams it on the table, and just says nothing. And my mate just quietly slides the money over to him. Like, it was proper. Like, I'll see your threat and raise you a Magnum.
It's interesting that there's a vibe. I mean, it's relatively safe country, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But they're very they don't put up with any bullshit.
Don't fuck around.
Don't fuck around. And the royal family there.
If you say that, you're not allowed to say anything about the king. But
nobody wants. I'm not going to. You know, if you go to another.
The only thing the promoter says to you is don't say anything about the fucking king. And the same in Vietnam. Don't say anything about Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, but if that's their culture and they hold them up into. You're not going to do that. But it is. I've seen clips online of the king of Thailand walking around and the immense reverence that he's held in. But it is an interesting culture. We thought it was quite matriarchal, didn't we?
Yes,
in Thailand,
the
women seem to be
a lot of voice. And
they seem to be much more
quiet.
Yeah.
Like women, voicing everything.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an anecdotal thing that we experience.
The Thais are so sound, like they're just such kind people. Like nothing's a problem. There's no aggro. There's no hassle. It's like the opposite of Dublin City sometimes, and it's hard coming back to Dublin when you've been somewhere nice like that, and then you're going into like Londa's on O'Connell Street, and there's a fella in a wheelchair baiting the head off someone. Like, you're just
well, it's so funny, Danny. I would offer you an opposite thing to that, because when I went to Moscow a few times.
Oh wow.
And it's this how would you? It's a heavy vibe. The big communist buildings, they're sort of muscular and they're looking at you going, fuck you. And there's kind of, that area, that's the Chechen area, and it's so vast, so big and quite scary. And then coming back to Dublin, it's like arriving to Hobbiton.
Quaint little
and those little, hey, come here. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not real danger.
No.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. And do you think Vietnam is on a par with Thailand?
The Vietnamese wouldn't be as friendly as the Thais, but they've had such a horrific history. Right. Can you blame them? Like, no. Jesus Christ. But really, really safe for me, I found it. And like the promoter said something to me as well. He's like, when you're on the bike, you're going to get a puncture at some stage or something's going to happen to the bike. It's just the way it is. But people will help you. And I was going up this massive hill and I was about 2 kilometers away from this little homestay. And it's the middle of nowhere. Like, it was just like a big quarry road. And I started wobbling on the bike and I was like, no.
Oh, no.
And then I was so stupid. I was like, I must have just kicked out, and I was in denial, but it was total puncture. And then a guy pulled in beside me and I'd know Google Translate, I'd know internet on my phone. And he just said 2 kilometers, fix the wheel. So I just crawled on the bike for 2 kilometers and the guy took the tire off with a toothbrush. So he gets a toothbrush and like grease. He had it taken off, chain, everything, replaced the tube, fixed the tire. It was 50,000 Vietnamese dong, which is €2.
I hope you give him a tip.
100%. I gave him 100. I was like, there you go. But it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's that kind of crack that I think is class. And then people will help you. You're going through these little villages and kids are running out, high-fiving you. I didn't see a single other Western person the whole time.
Yeah.
You're just avoiding water buffalo and dogs. It was
class. That sounds like amazing. So what's your next big gig coming up?
I'm bringing the Kilimanjaro tour. So I got scammed at the Edinburgh Fringe in 2023. And I scammed the fake accommodation at the Fringe, me and Rory. Yeah, man. And long story short, I got the scammer, but it took me a year to get him through 3 different sets of police. So through Scottish police, through Irish police, and through Welsh police. So you'll find out about it in the show. So the show is basically about it's called Kilimanjaro. So obviously a little bit of it is about Kilimanjaro, but a huge amount of it is about the scam and getting after the guy. And I actually filmed the thing with Channel 4 at the Fringe about people getting scammed at the Fringe.
So in other words, you paid up front for
I knew something was up as well, right? And about 3 days he was just fucking around and being weird. And I have a few mates living in Edinburgh. One of my mates is a bouncer in near the Cowgate actually. And I said, would you mind going over to this guy? Something's not right here. And I said, I'm sending someone over just to view the property, which is totally reasonable.
And it wasn't there.
Shit him. And he's like, you've broken the tenancy agreement by asking for a viewing. And I just knew. And I said, send me back the money today, fucking piece of shit. He sent me fake bank transfers. And the problem is with scammers, and I'm sure loads of listeners have been scammed. We've all been scammed in some capacity. Yeah. They frustrate you into giving up. But he was an English dude. He was deaf as well. He had hearing aids, and that's why I trusted him.
Well, how did you know he had hearing aids?
Because I spoke to him. I FaceTimed this guy. I spoke to, and he sent me his actual passport. He sent me his real passport. I FaceTimed him, had his phone number and his bank account details. So I was like, there's no way someone would give all that.
So how would he know that he can scam
Because the Scottish police do nothing.
Oh, I see.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
so you'll be cocky if you know no one's going to do it.
So in the show, you talk about how you managed to.
Yeah, and like it was through like an Irish cop friend of mine who was so pissed off at what had happened and put pressure on other cops, and eventually got investigated. But it took a year of just relentless. But the Scottish police didn't want to know. Like, you know what they actually said to me when I went in? This woman was like 105 years of age. I was like, she shouldn't be working for the police. She should be retiring, living her best life. And she goes, I'm sorry, son, but because you paid for the accommodation when you were in Ireland, it's the Irish police's problem. Which is bullshit.
Yeah.
And then we saw this poor Italian couple who got their bike nicked, and they came in and said, listen, our bike's been stolen. And this cop just comes out and goes, that's a civil matter. They don't give a bollocks. So yeah, it's bad because we
Edinburgh police. Come on,
lads,
get a fucking grip.
Do something.
Yeah,
at least be like our guards, and at least pretend to do something.
But that's amazing, and that's incredible. So, is this a new tours?
Yeah, so the Edinburgh show sold out the run, and then it took a month to get the show into shape over there. Did a few little festivals, Ballycotton, and a few little random ones, and then it's going on tour from January. I'm doing a few theatres. I'm doing the Axis in Ballymun. I'm doing the Dot Theatre in Dublin, which is an amazing little theatre space just off. Used to be Mutiny Theatre, just off Leeson Street.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I think I might.
Did some brilliant plays and stuff in there. So I'm doing a few different ones. So I think there's 40 dates between January and May, and it's the best crack show I've done, but it was the worst crack right now, if that makes sense.
DannyO'Brien.com.
Yeah, DannyO'BrienComedy.com or DOB
Danny O'Brien Comedy.
The socials.
Danny O'Brien
the
Comedy.
Socials, no.
What's the socials?
DOB Comedy.
But that's incredible. Scammers are bastards. Remember
Don't let go.
We were in on our way back from Thailand. We were in the airport, and we were trying to book another flight, Hannah.
No, we tried to rebook it or reissue the boarding tickets,
something like that. Anyway, look. So we were talking to a guy who we thought issued us the tickets, but it was a total scam.
Really?
But we didn't. We were totally innocent. And there was just this push notification. All right, I'm not going to do in any accent, you know. All right, yeah, just push. Huh? How much? And I just pushed it was £3,600 or something.
But it was in Thai baht, so you sort of didn't know how much it was.
What?
It's about €60.
No. £3,600 sterling.
No, you didn't get scammed for that, did you?
Yes.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking.
Jesus.
But blah 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 Monzo, but I got the money back.
Oh, deadly!
But it took months, didn't it?
Yeah,
Did you hear?
But it took months. But I did it.
Good on you, Dave.
And I've written a show called Scam McSavage Jaro.
Osama Scamladen.
What is it?
Osama Scamladen.
McSavage Jaro.
There's
Killer McSavage. Oh, fuck off. Go on, sorry.
There's a French fella who came over to Ireland. This is one of the worst ones I've heard here in Dublin. And this French guy came over, rented an Airbnb out, and advertised it as his own property, got a second set of keys cut, and was targeting essentially the Brazilian community here in Dublin. And basically, the staff that come in that work in the comedy venues told me about this. So 2 girls went in and they paid their deposit. I think it would say 800 quid for the month, and then so 1,600 quid all in. Gave them the money, sat down, did the forms and all that stuff with them or whatever, gave them their keys and said, you can move in tomorrow. They turned up the next day and there was about 9 other people waiting in the hallway with all of their belongings. This guy had rented an Airbnb, got spare keys cut, got deposits and month payments off 9 different groups of people, and then told them they can move in the next day and fucked off back to France and just deleted his Airbnb account. So it took like 10 grand.
Legend.
But like, it's fucking insane.
But I'll tell you something. When so you're there with your phone, right? Look, finger that.
Yeah.
You're just doing this, look. And then 3,600. And then I'm like, Hannah. And then I'm talking to your man. He's going, what are you talking about? You fucking cunt or something. And then he's like, how dare you call me fucking cunt? But there's something about that. It sort of cleans the airways immediately. But there's something it brings you. To talk about DMT. It's something like a real life DMT. It's sort of, well, we're all okay. We nothing physically has damaged us, but it's a shocking.
But they're like targeting old people and all that shit as well. It's
what the fuck? We're not that old.
It's a
son of a bitch.
Son
of a bitch.
But we all so gullible. Like we're so naive in a way. Like
but fool me,
but goodness in people.
I don't think that we would be I'd be very, very careful about that again, Hannah.
There's brilliant Instagram clips about people who are targeting scammers, and I fucking
so beautiful.
Love them. So have you seen one where they look through the cameras and they're like, well, Denise, it's funny you're wearing your pink jumper today.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
I love those lads.
Speaking about weird situations and people, promising that they're going to rent out properties that don't exist. This guy 2 days ago was telling me he rented out a place to this fucking lunatic who wouldn't pay his rent anymore, and he was desperate to try and get him out of the property that he was renting him. And he finally went into the property, and the guy, there's some serious neurological damage, because he had a normal job. He'd come out of the apartment in a suit, and then he went in. The toilet was ripped up, and he'd been shitting in the bath for 3 months.
What the fuck?
Yeah, shitting. He'd been shitting in the bath for 3 months.
We need to put the nutter butter in that bath.
He'd been shitting in the bath for 3 months. You know what I mean?
But how does he flushes the
He does.
He doesn't. He just lives with the shit. I mean, in nature, the thing is, if you shit where you sleep, you're mentally ill. So this guy's severely not well. But I mean, he was describing. It's describing I had to, fumigate and do that and do that and do that and do that.
You'd have to manually scoop that out.
Oh no, you don't. I think
you have to get rid of the
you
bath.
just had to.
No,
you had to
burn the house down.
You had to burn the house. You had to. You had to get a digger and just dig 100 feet in all directions.
That's so great.
But just some guy, like, can you imagine it? Like, he's just having his fucking.
I've seen some. I used to be a social care worker, so I used to work in the homeless and addiction services. And if someone was in real state of chaos with their addiction and their mental health, they would sometimes have to have their bed closed because they would end up in hospital, or they would leave the service, and you would have to go in. And it's mad how much you can tell about the state of exactly that, someone's mental health versus what they're living in. We used to find insane stuff, and like to be like needles in and amongst clothes, and like it was mad. But yeah, we need mental health services in Ireland, and that's a perfect example of why people shouldn't be shitting in baths. Like,
well, I mean, this guy held down a normal job.
That's very weird.
Very, very strange.
Maybe it was his kink. He was just like into scat, like.
Scat. I love that's the thing about modern day culture, that you think that you can just cover a name and call it scat, and it's sort of, hey, stop scat shaming. I will fucking
stop scat shaming that guy.
Stop scat shaming. Emer loves it when guys shit inside her mouth. Emer needs help. Needs huge amounts of assistance.
Some people light a Joe Malone candle. Some people shit in the bath.
You know what I mean?
I think it's very rare.
Yeah. So scat. Hey, I'm into scat. I'm into unaliving. Do you mean unaliving? You're a murderer.
Unaliving. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's
ghosting. Ghosting is horrible. It's not acceptable. And Joanne McNally, you have made it acceptable to ghost. No. I love Joanne. That was a. Will she come on the podcast? We hope so.
When's the last time you were on the north side of the inner city? I just thought about this when you did a big vape plume there.
Go on.
There's a little shop just kind of down towards the bottom part of O'Connell Street, just past Talbot Street. And there's a little Indian shop that's selling fake vapes. Right? So you know the way they're called Lost Marys, the little reusable ones. So they're about €9, but you can buy Found Marys for $5.
What are Found Marys, Danny?
They're knockoff Lost Marys.
I don't understand.
They're called Found Marys.
Oh, they call them Found Marys.
It sounds like some kind of like religious thing, like some kind of Christmas.
Oh, right.
We're going over to the Found Mary shop. It's brilliant. Only in Dublin.
I was watching that great film last night, Doubt, with Meryl Streep and the guy who died of a heroin overdose, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh,
have you seen that film?
No, I
Doubt?
haven't. No,
but there's that moment where he's a paedophile priest in this film, Doubt, and she's confronting him, and it's some powerful scene. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. Well, look, folks, you really have to go and see Danny telling this odyssey
of revenge against the English.
Odyssey of revenge against the English, and one of the hardest working comedians around. It was pleasure for you to be here. Pleasure for you to be here. Pleasure for us to have. Pleasure for you. Pleasure for Daniel. Thank you.
You can't help yourself, David.
Thank you, Daniel.
So Danny, DOB on the socials.
DOB comedy, yeah.
And DannyO'Brien.com. It's just like.
But listen, what about saying about Patreon?
Well, we have to do it the next one, or we'll do an ad now. We'll do an ad now when Danny goes, maybe if you want.
Okay. Yes.
For our Patreon,
yes.
which we haven't set up yet.
And PayPal.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Hannah! You know, you just like you know. You have all these ideas, but the actual, in the trenches, like me and Danny, working hard. So sorry, ladies.
Make sure that stays in, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel, Prince Daniel. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Danny O'Brien. Thank you, everybody. God bless.